who's going to be rounded up this time? And people who are on the right and the left should ask themselves, do you believe on say my side that I can pick anybody in the Republican Party or anybody on the right that would round people up? Do I think that they would round, atheists up? Yeah, I think you could actually make a case that there are some people that if they were in power, they would say, we just get these atheists or these communists or these progressives. Round them up. No. Do you think there's anybody that could make the case that on the left, if the wrong person gets into power, they would round up the Tea Partiers? They would round up the Jews. I'm telling you, you're closer to this than you think you are. Let me show you how the government is already setting up the Jewish state for an intifada, a massacre. And I don't say this lightly, that they're setting up the nation of Israel. But I saw this weekend, and I couldn't believe it. And so we've been doing some homework and some investigation on our own and trying to tie things together, and I can't believe it, but I'm about to go over to the chalkboard with magnets and everything and tie something together, because nobody else will. The enemies of Israel, they continue to build up strength, and they continue to march towards nuclear weapons and grow more and more radical. And John Kerry this weekend actually said that Israel is facing boycotts now, but they're probably going to face something worse if the talks with the Palestinians fail. Watch.
And you see, for Israel, there's an increasing delegitimization campaign that has been building up. People are very sensitive to it. There's talk of boycotts and other kinds of things.
Okay, that's just amazing. There's talk of boycotts. And in another speech, he said, if Israel doesn't act, these boycotts, you're getting hurt now, but, what happens next? He sounds disconnected, doesn't he? He's a long way away from these boycotts. He's just saying this hypothetical, there's talk of these boycotts. Where are these boycotts coming from? Well, it's not going to come as a surprise, the familiar cast of characters who are behind the boycotts. How sad it is that a liberal Hollywood starlet like Scarlett Johansson is more courageous and principled than our own Secretary of State. She actually resigned from her position as an ambassador of Oxfam International. Now, I had never heard of Oxfam. Had you ever heard of Oxfam before? Well, she resigned because they opposed trade with Israel. So let's look at a couple of things, okay? John Kerry is hinting that Oxfam, they're going to boycott. That's what the talk is. That's what the talk is. Okay. And at the end of the day, is John Kerry involved at all? Is the administration involved at all with any of this? Well, we have to look at the money trail here, because it will explain a lot. Oxfam. Who are they exactly? Well, Oxfam was created... Our magnets don't work. Oh well. Oxfam was co-founded, or actually they co-founded the Responsibility to Protect. Now, do you remember that? If you remember, the Responsibility to Protect is all about Samantha Power. Who is Samantha Power? Samantha Power is the woman who was Cass Sunstein's wife. Responsibility to Protect. What was that? Responsibility to Protect, the first time we found it was when they were talking about going into to Libya. And she said, when there's some sort of genocide or some sort of really big problem where one big state is trying to keep the other down, we have a responsibility to protect. Well, who was it that co-founded it with Oxfam? Remember? So it was Soros and Oxfam that came up with the Responsibility to Protect. Now, let's go jump ahead. But is there any connection here at all between John Kerry and Oxfam? Couldn't be, right? Because he's just saying off the cuff, well, you know what, there's people talking now about a boycott. Guess whose wife has given millions to Oxfam? It's not Mrs., it's Ms. Ms. John Kerry has given millions to Oxfam. Oh, and besides the Ketchup Queen, the Tides Foundation also gives money to Oxfam. And Kerry is also giving money to Tides. Remember, Tides is nothing more than a money laundering system. Now, the president appointed a woman, Smita Singha. She was appointed to his Global Development Council. She also happens to be on the governing board of Oxfam. So now we have somebody who is directly in the administration, also on the board of Oxfam. His wife gave money to Oxfam, but he's heard rumor. Really? Oh, and Valerie Jarrett also has praised Oxfam because she says the administration is working with Oxfam. Quote, the president will continue to partner with leaders from the public and private sectors and with extraordinary organizations such as Oxfam, so they know about it. As we continue to save lives and improve communities, I look forward to continuing our work together with Oxfam. Wow, it is like one giant happy money laundering family, isn't it? All starts, again, with the responsibility to protect. If you remember right, I'm trying to go back into my Fox days. Responsibility to protect wasn't really about Libya. It was used in Libya. It was actually, if I remember right, and I do, it was an anti-Israel stance. Samantha Power had one goal in mind when they created that, and that was, if we have to, we will send in U.S. or international forces to impose a solution in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. So why would this be happening? Because of the responsibility to protect. That's it. They are looking for a justification to get into Israel and deal with Israel themselves. The president has been softening the ground, helping pave the way, his entire presidency for this. And all of the people involved, they're all the people involved with the boycott. And the president's been humiliating Benjamin Netanyahu. He has called for the return to the 67 borders. He slammed Israeli settlements. He has supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, the overthrow, which made everything much more unstable. He gave the Muslim Brotherhood membership, VIP treatment, access to the White House. He actually had members of the Muslim Brotherhood in the White House. He has members of the Muslim Brotherhood that are touring our homeland security. It's clear what side the administration is on. It's clear what side of the bed they're crawling in with. And it ain't Israel. This administration believes Israel is the problem. And when there is a real global war, whose side do you think this administration will be on? Israel? Or will we see maybe a new ambassador, Samantha Power, who will convene an international peacekeeping force to send into Israel to impose a solution? When the hammer comes down on Israel, and believe me, it's going to, it is because this administration is setting up a bogus boycott themselves. This is directly from the White House again. Now, what do you think will happen on the home front? If that's the position that this government is going to take, who ends up in one of these? Who do you think? I know it's pretty strong to say what Scalia said, but, and if anybody says it, if you say it, you're going to be mocked, but that's all right. It is much more foolish to pretend that these things don't happen in our own history and can't happen again. Now, let's get to the solution. How do you fix this? Well, you don't fix this by having stupid magnets on the board, and I learned that a long time ago because nobody cares. Nobody cares. We're committing national crimes every single day. I don't care. I'm too busy. I can't pay attention. I can't do anything. I'm too small. Whatever. National crimes. So, if you have a society that is committing those national crimes, well, then you have to make that medicine go down with a spoonful of sugar, and that's why I'm going after culture. I said this the other day. Sean Hannity has his thing, Rush has his thing. Everybody has a role. It's why I started TheBlaze, and why a lot of people, and even in my own company, they don't even understand it yet. We're a news company. Yes, we are. But we are also a movie and television company. And not this kind of television, but one that will get into the culture. Because the culture is the first step. News and voting is the last step. If you can't get people to consume for entertainment the truth and see what's really going on, there's no chance. There's no chance. We can't seem to change the dirtbags in D.C. fast enough. So we have to get to the culture. But then there is another step. Culture is one. But here's the most important. I remember when I started doing this 5 years ago, and there wasn't anybody that wanted to meet with me outside of, even people in my own faith didn't want to meet with me. Nobody wanted to meet. The faithful must come together, and they must unite despite our theological differences. If you look at all of the great movements for man's justice and man's freedom, it was all started by and completed by people of faith. Take a look at the battle hymn of the Republic. It's, first of all, the battle hymn. Hymn. It's a dead giveaway, but in case that wasn't enough, as he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free while God is marching on. How do you get people to do things? You show them this is the right thing to do. There's a difference between Republican and Democrat, and here it is, right and wrong. Those two things can flip sides all the time, but there is no flipping of right and wrong. Who fought segregation? Who was it? Dr. Martin Luther King, right? No. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Reverend comes first, and everybody's dropping it off. In fact, his family wants to sell his Bible now. At least some members of the family are saying, no, wait, we shouldn't sell that because that's who he is. And this time it will be no different. If you want to stop history from repeating itself, you must get into the culture. You must not commit the national crime of I'm too busy, I don't care, I don't know. And you must strengthen your faith and our faith community in whole.